Welcome to We Repair Stuff. Today we're doing an iPhone 6 charge dock replacement and headphone jack replacement. It is a bit more fiddly than the norm, but it's probably a 7 out of 10 on the difficult to repair scale. So the first thing we do is remove the two pentalobe screws to the base of the screen, and then if you get something pointy you'll be able to pop the screen up. I can normally do this with my fingernails on the iPhone 6, so it's quite easy to lift out. As always, next thing we do is remove the two screws holding the screw cover and disconnect the battery, because the last thing we want to do is damage our main board. If we do that, then we'll be in for a whole world of trouble. At this point you can leave the screen in place, but it does make the job a whole lot difficult, so you're better off removing the screen. So unscrew the 5 screws holding the metal cover in place, and remove the metal cover. Okay, and then we just disconnect the connections holding the screen cover in place. So after we've done that, we can make a start on the charge dock. So disconnect it from the board. There's also a little Wi-Fi cable that needs to be disconnected from the board. You'll need something pointy to pry it up. If you just get behind it, it will just, or rather it should just pop straight up, and not covering it, not causing damage to the board. You will need to hold the board in place at the same time. Once we've done that, next thing we need to do is remove the speaker and the vibrate motor. So first of all, undo the 2 screws holding the vibrate motor in place. I'll remove it. And then we've got another 5 screws holding the speaker in place. So just work your way around and remove all 5. So now those are all removed, we work our way along the bottom edge of the phone, just removing all the screws as we go. So I think there's about 8 of them all in all. There's a little metal bracket holding the charge dock in place, and there's also a little black bracket holding the bottom microphone in place. So we'll just work our way along, we'll remove each of them and remove those 2 brackets as we go. Okay, and now all we need to do is just pull the charge dock out. It's held down with a little bit of adhesive, but at this point we're just going to discard it anyway. So just pull that out, and as you can see, it's got the headphones jack and the bottom dock on it, and it's also got the Wi-Fi connection. So we have our new charge dock. There's a little bit of blue adhesive stickers on the back we just need to pull off, so the adhesive is actually sticky, and that will hold everything in place while we put the screws in. So the next thing we do is we'll pop the charge dock down. Now I always tend to do this, so you put the headphones jack in first, just because that's the longest connector and it's a little bit easier to get in. Next thing to do is to pop the mic down and just line it up. There is a little plastic dot that the mic just connects into. You will need something pointy to get it in place. And then, as you can see, we will need a plastic spudger or something just to push the cable down so we can align it up with all of the various alignment holes and things on the bottom of the motherboard, Just do it very carefully with something non-metallic, because otherwise you'll break the connector or potentially damage the connector anyway. So there's 2 points at which you line it up with. It's fairly straightforward, as I say. If you've got a plastic spudger, that's the best thing. And then just move the Wi-Fi cable out of the way a little bit if you can. Next thing we're going to do is just the reverse of what we did to take it out. So we're going to pop our 8 screws in first, just to hold the bracket back in place. We'll just work our way along until we get to the first speaker screw. So we've also got to put the 2 little brackets back in place, one to hold the mic just nice and firmly against the edge of the phone, and one to hold the speaker as well, sorry, the charge dock as well. So I'm just putting that little black bracket back in place now. It's a little bit tricky to see, but it does line up. There's a little dot on the board that it lines up with, and it's just one screw holding it in place, but it is a little bit of a fiddle to get that one aligned. So as long as you go slow and you persevere, it's fairly straightforward. So just pop our little metal bracket back on now. So we've got 4 screws there on the dock that need to be put in to hold that all back in place. So again, just being careful of that Wi-Fi cable, we can now pop the speaker back in. And the speaker also covers the last 2 cables at the bottom of the dock as well. You do need to put the end of the speaker in first, because there is a little lip that goes underneath the board. If you don't do that, the speaker won't sit down properly. So just pop in those 5 speaker screws back in now, and then we can start connecting things back up. And one final screw, and that's everything put back in for the dock except for the vibrate motor. So the next thing we'll do is we'll just reattach the Wi-Fi cable. Now this one can be a bit of a fiddle just to get lined up, and the easiest thing to do is get something pointy, preferably a spudger, something plasticky which isn't going to damage the board, and then it will push down and you'll feel it pop into place. And then once that's done, you would just align the cable up with a little bracket on the edge of the speaker and pop it down, and that will also hold in place. So remove the last bit of adhesive cover tape, and then we will push the connector back in. Now again, this one is also a little bit of a fiddle because it's never quite in the right place, so you just have to fiddle with it for a minute, and it will pop in. Despite the fact that you've lined everything up, it never seems to line up quite right. But it will go down flush, and again you will just feel it click into place once it's in properly. So the next thing we do is pop the vibrate motor back in. There's only one way around it can go. It lines up again with a little dot on the frame, so you can't put it in the wrong way, and again a couple of screws just to hold that one in. And then the next thing we do is just reconnect the screen, and then we need to pop the little metal covers back over for both the screen and the battery. Now once you put the battery cover back in place, next thing we should do is just lie the screen flat, and then we can align the screen with the top of the frame, exactly like that. So we'll just pop that flat and push it down firmly, and then everything will lock into place. And then we just need to screw the 2 pentalobe screws into the base of the screen, again just to complete that repair. Now the last thing we just do is test the charge port is now working as it should, because when it came to us it wasn't charging at all. The other thing I will do once I've powered everything back on after this video is just test that the mic is working as it should. Generally I do that by making a phone call or FaceTiming someone, or if they have the voice record app installed, I use that. Otherwise, that's all powering on fine. As we can see, it's turned on as soon as we plug the cable in, and that's it. We're all done. So thanks for watching.